Hello everyone and welcome to Hellstorm Wargaming. Hope you're doing well. My name's Mikey and today we're going to be talking about Age of Sigmar, which is something we've not done in a little while because, you know, this happened and then this happened. So it's been a little bit busy, but we do actually cover Age of Sigmar content every now and then. I want to say a massive thank you to Games Workshop for reminding us because we have the new Sons of Behemat, the Destruction Battletome, the Giant Battletome. Carriage and Overlords. Look, the giant Battletome. It's so much bigger. Look, can you see? It's so much bigger. This is nothing to do with perspective. Massive thank you to Games Workshop for sending us this Battletome so we can talk about it and tell you all about the things inside. Enjoy. Not only did they send a Battletome, they also sent one of these mad lads, the most controversially priced model in Warhammer by the sounds of it. These are quite expensive. I believe they're going to be like over £100 to buy the shelf. But it is a really cool kit. It is really big. It builds one of 3 mega Gargants, which is essentially super giant. If you want a giant, then you get one of these. And I will say, whilst I did enjoy building this, in my opinion, there isn't enough customization in terms of posability. It is kind of, you choose one and you build the one on the box, which is a little bit of a shame in my opinion for this sort of kit where it's so large. It's like, if you want this arm, you build this arm. You can't like pose this arm any other way really without a lot of chopping and changing. So essentially, if you play 40k or you've seen 40k, I think this is like the equivalent of an Imperial Knights army. Essentially, if you build an army with the maximum amount of these, you can only take 3. But you can only fit 3 in 2,000 points with your battle line, which is your Ale Guzzlers, which is your small giants, which are giant compared to everything else, but they're small compared to these. So essentially, you're going to need like, you're going to want like, if you wanted to run a pure Sons of Behemat army, you're probably going to want like 2 Mega Gargants, maybe 3, and then a load of Ale Guzzlers. So again, it's not the cheapest army to build, but it is a really big model. If you're really into like this sort of aesthetic, then that's really good. The great thing is about the Mega Gargants is that they can be used as a mercenary for any Age of Sigmar army, which is obviously a nice way to use them. So I mostly play Death, so I built the Gatebreaker. So the Gatebreaker works with any Death faction. The Kraken Eater, which is the fish-based one, that is the technical term. The Kraken Eater can be used by Order and Destruction. Then you have the War Stomper, which is this one, which can be used by Chaos and Destruction. And then you have the Gatebreaker, or as I like to call him, the Simp. He can be used by Death or Destruction. So Destruction can take any, and then if you're playing any other faction, they can take a specific one. So I ended up building it. I built it relatively, it's quite a nice kit to build. It is quite tall. A lot of people actually want to know what size it is, but I believe it's like 7 inches. So it's like just over 6 inches from the base. But if you go from the bottom of the base, then he's closer to like 6.5 inches essentially. So it's a quite cool model. I did a little bit of kit bashing, very minor amount of kit bashing. I really didn't like the face because, again, I think he looks like a simp with a little mask on. So I actually took the War Stomper's beard and top knot and attached it, so he looks more like an executioner in my opinion. I think that's what they were going for. I just don't think they quite captured it, but I think the beard and the top knot really helped change his face up a little bit. So it's a really fun kit to build. I will say that there was a part, there's like a little plank shield here, and then these parts, the one like this rope part that goes across his stomach, they're actually numbered wrong. So one of them's numbered 112 and 114 in the instruction manual, then it's swapped on the actual sprue, so be aware of that. But overall, a massive kit. Obviously, I have an Imperial Guard handy on my desk to see the size difference, and then I'll put some close-ups against some actual Age of Sigmar models. But a really cool kit. And he does quite a lot of damage by the looks of it. I think he can do like 30 damage in 1 turn. So a lot of people are saying that these aren't going to be the most competitive army to play. I mean, it's not always a bad thing. It's just like, at least they're not going to be just everyone having to go out and buy 3 Mega Gargants and then some Ale Guzzlers to actually compete in competitive Age of Sigmar. Like, I think someone said like a unit of Daughters of Cain, one of their powerful units can charge one of these and kill it in 1 turn, which is fair enough. I mean, otherwise, let's have a close-up of the model, and let's talk about some of the rules that they do actually come with. Now, I think the actual data sheets have pretty much been shown off on Warhammer Community by the time this video comes out anyway, But essentially, if you run these as mercenaries, they get a few extra little rules. For example, Bundo Whalebiter, the Kraken Eater mercenary, gets Dead Cunning for a Gargant. At the start of the combat phase, you can say this model will be uncannily cunning. If you do so, this model fights at the end of the phase, but you can reroll hits for attacks made by that model that phase, which is pretty good. Again, because he's so large, you're hoping he's not going to get damaged enough before he actually gets to attack, so you can reroll hits with him. And then you got One-Eyed Grunnock, which is the War Stomper mercenary, and he gets Shake the Earth, so you can reroll hit rolls of 1 for jump up and down attacks made by this model. In addition, subtract 1 from the hit rolls for attack made by enemy units that are within 6 inches of this model, if this model made any jump up and down attacks earlier in the same phase, And then you get Big Drog Fort Kicker, which is the Gatebreaker mercenary. With this one I've built, Steve the Simp. So Steve gets Grievous Halitosis. So at the end of the combat phase, you can pick one enemy unit within 3 inches of this model and roll a number of dice equal to the number of models that are within 3 inches. And then for each roll of a 6, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound, which is pretty cool. So a little bit of a attempted horde clearance from one of the units anyway. So they get a whole bunch of abilities. I'll pull up the data sheets on screen now. So they get a whole bunch of attacks. Obviously, they have 35 wounds each, which is amazing, with 4+ save. I think that's pretty cool. I'm not the most competitive Age of Sigmar player. I'm more of a casual Age of Sigmar player. But, you know, they have stuff like pretty cool abilities like Stuff Them in Minette, which is amazing. So essentially this, after model piles in, you can pick up to D3 models within 3 inches and roll a dice for each of them. If you roll double the wounds characteristic, it is slain, which is amazing. The War Stomper gets Titan Boulder Club, which is the attack characteristic of the Titan Boulder Club is equal to the number of models within 3 inches of the attacking model. Add the Titanic Boulder Club value of the attacking model's damage table to the total, and add 4 to the total for each monster within 3 inches. And then if less than 1, it's 1. If it's more than 10, it counts at 10. But that's just awesome. It's just absolute sweet with the club. And then the Gatebreaker gets smashed down, so it can basically destroy terrain and stuff like that, which is pretty fun. The Kraken Eater actually, he can kick objectives called Get Off Me Land. Get Off Me Land. Essentially, you can kick an objective 2d6, which is pretty fun. If you don't take these as mercenaries, then they have allegiance abilities like any other faction does. They actually have 3 types of allegiance abilities, depending who is your general. So Mightier makes Rightier, so essentially a Gargant counts as 10 models and a Mega Gargant counts as 20 in terms of objectives. Then they can all chuck rocks for the Man Crusher Gargants, so they all get a shooting attack. And then they get Lord and Master. So depending which type of Mega Gargant you make your general, you get different tribe abilities. So you have the Taker tribe for Kraken Eater, you have the Stomper tribe for the War Stomper, and you have the Breaker tribe for the Gatebreaker. Very inventive, obviously, giants with naming stuff. So they have a whole bunch of command traits and artifacts of power, depending who's who. A lot of them are like a carryover. So example, they all have monstrously tough, so one of the command traits is to give them 40 wounds instead of 35. They all have old and gnarly, and they all have louder than words, which old and gnarly is reroll save rolls of 1, and then they have add 1 to the attack characteristics for one of the type of weapons essentially. But then they have 3 unique command traits for each one. They have a bunch of battle traits and loads of artifacts. I'll bring them up on screen now so it's easier to read rather than me just reading them to you, because I want to keep this video short and sweet. You then get a whole bunch of background tables to help about your Sons of Behemat tribes. You can name them and they can write some quirks, etc. So, and then overall you have points. So essentially a Mega Gargant is nearly 500 points each, so you got 480 for the War Stomper and then 490 for the other 2. And then Man Crusher Gargants are 180 for 1 or 480 for 3. And if you do have 3 in a unit, they can count for your 3 battle line. So essentially the best way to, the way I'd like to run this is it's something I'm actually tempted to do because it'd be really easy and fun to paint. It's 3 Mega Gargants, 1 of each, so then you'd be 1 of each, which would be like 1460 points, and then 3 Man Crusher Gargants as your battle line in 1 unit. So that would be, so you'd be 60 points down, you'd be at 1940, sorry. And then I'd buy command points, I'll be 10 points under. So 1990 is a Gatebreaker, a Kraken Eater, a War Stomper, and 3 Man Crusher Gargants in a unit, which would be pretty funny. I don't know how good that would be, but let me know if you think it'd be good. Again, quite controversial because people don't think this army is super competitive from what they've seen already on the Wargaming community. That's what I've basically seen all over Twitter. But I don't know. It sounds pretty fun. Again, I'm not a super competitive Age of Sigmar player, so I couldn't even tell you what the best army is right now. I mean, it was Bone Reapers until they got nerfed, so I imagine it's Lumineth because they were the latest release. But yeah, it looks like a really a more fun type of Battletome. It doesn't seem uber competitive. If these were like any cheaper in terms of points, and you had like 4 Mega Gargants and then normal Man Crusher Gargants, then I think that might be a little bit too much for your more casual game, because obviously, like anything with this type of army, is that you have so few models, so they have to be so damaging. So if you do enough to your opponent early on, they can't really react, and that's kind of the only playstyle for this type of army. Like, that's all I see in 40k with Imperial Knights. It's like you either kill 2 Imperial Knights turn 1 and win, or you don't kill any turn 1, you don't kill any turn 2 and you lose the game, for example. So obviously Age of Sigmar's a different game, so if you've got other thoughts, then let me know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching this video. Again, short and sweet, quick review of Sons of Behemat. Let me know if you're going to pick up an army. Should I pick up an army? Should I buy some friends for Steve the Simp? Let me know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, then please give it a like and subscribe and leave a comment about it down below. But otherwise, thank you for watching. Have a great day now, and hopefully I will catch you in the next one. Bye bye now.